everybody. Welcome. Come on in. Please, I am just getting on right now. I would love to know how your homeschool week went. What were some wins? I'm serious. I really want to know. This will encourage me. What wins do you have this week? What are some maybe problems that you have come across this week? We are going to talk about all things homeschooling, but also we're going to chat a little bit about how to keep a tidy house while you are homeschooling, because it causes a lot of anxiety for moms who are considering homeschooling, because your kids are home all day, and you guys know how summers are when your kids are home, and moms think of that and they think, oh my goodness, my house would be a wreck if I homeschooled. But there are things that you can do to help keep a tidy house while you're homeschooling. Please hop in and tell me your secrets. I'd love to see them in the comments. We are live right now on a bunch of different platforms. We are live on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube, and of course, on TikTok. Hi, everybody. Come on in. I want you to introduce yourself. Tell me who you are. I see you. How was your homeschool week? What were some wins? What do you think was your favorite lesson that you did this week? Or maybe it wasn't a lesson, maybe it was an activity. Did anybody go on a field trip this week? I want to hear. I really, really do. These lives are when I get a chance to get to know you guys. So please do tell me. Hi, come on in, everybody. Welcome. We're going to talk today about how to keep a tidy house. So how many of you have your kids do chores? Because I have found, hi, hello. Yes. Oh, someone learned how to write checks. Yes, go ahead, Scott.
H.L. Hankins on Insta.
Hi.
Went to a new museum and we're caught up on laundry, including it being put away. That's a big win in my book.
Okay, no, seriously, can someone give this woman hearts? I think it's a huge win when you've managed to homeschool all of your children and your laundry schedule was accomplished. Whereas like by Friday, your laundry's done. So, on social media, a lot of us talk about how the benefits of homeschooling and how wonderful it is. And it really, really is. At the same time, there are just like with any new lifestyle or any choices that we make, there are also new hurdles that come across that we have to figure out how to solve. And I really enjoy having a peaceful, tidy home. It's just something that I love. And so when my kids were really, really young, we started them on chores. And I'm going to tell you a little bit of how we do our chores in our house. Yes, next question though. Hi, come on in, guys.
Brittany on YouTube.
Hi, Brittany.
We spent Monday volunteering with hurricane relief teams and did school the other 4 days. First football games last night, ballet on Wednesday.
Yes. Oh, wonderful. And you know what? I just love that about homeschooling, that when there is an emergency in our area, like with the hurricane, we can drop everything and volunteer and help. And to me, that is so much more important than a math lesson. It's teaching our kids not to be selfish. It's teaching our kids empathy. It's giving them a look into the circumstances of others. And you guys, our public school system does not teach kids how to be empathetic, loving, giving human beings. And this goes back to the question that I always ask parents. It might be the biggest question, the most important question you can ask as a parent. Probably not the most important, but maybe it's up there. And that is, what is an education to you? How do you define it? Because I have found that often when I ask parents that maybe have never even heard of homeschooling, oh, I love the hearts. Yeah, give that mama hearts because she took her kids and did community service and helped with the hurricane relief. I love it. When you ask parents what is an education to you, they often will tell you their heart. Oh, I want my kids to, they'll say be successful in life, but I want them to be kind. I want them to be this. And they'll say all these things. And then hopefully, I don't know, but maybe they'll realize that maybe that doesn't align with the educational path that they're choosing for their child. I know that that's a big concern for people of faith, is that they don't really want to separate their faith from their education and their daily life. And you kind of are forced to do that when your kids are in the public school system. Hello, everybody, come on in. We are going to talk about how to keep a tidy house while you're homeschooling. It's one of the big hurdles that we all face. And anyone in here a working homeschool mom like me? Let me know. But even if you are not, it is still a challenge because your kids are around all day. And so we have to figure out how to keep our houses tidy. And there are some tips and tricks. But first, let's get to a question. Hi.
Angie went to the pumpkin patch yesterday.
Angie! Oh, pumpkin patch. Okay, I was just thinking this morning, crud, I haven't taken my kids to a pumpkin patch yet this year. Did you realize that, babe? We haven't done a pumpkin patch.
And we have Girl Mom 32017.
Hi, Girl Mom.
On TikTok.
TikTok.
I'm struggling to get back into the groove after a week off.
Yes. Yes, I do have tips for getting into the groove. Yes, let's talk about that. Let me take a sip. You'll see my energy increase as this live progresses because this is caffeinated coffee with half and half. So cheers. Go get your coffee because we're going to sit down and we're going to talk about how to keep our houses clean. Okay? So, but Angie, was it Angie? She took a week off.
No, this is Girl Mom.
Girl Mom, you took a week off. And it's really hard to get back into the groove. This is all of us. So this is the one thing that I want to normalize. And I know that word is overused. Normalize. Everyone hates using it, but I need to use it right now. We need to normalize the fact. It's kind of like, when grandparents come and visit and the kids are kind of spoiled and then they leave and then you're left with little hellions on your hands. I feel like that happens and it's taken me years to accept the fact that I have a choice. I can either ease into homeschooling or I can go like Sergeant Mommy and just say, we're doing a full school day. I've done both. It's always a little bit difficult. I have found that the best thing to do is the night before, talk the kids through, okay, depending on what you're going to do. Are you going to do a full school day? Are you going to do half? Are you going to do what? I generally dive in because when we're off, we are off. I don't want to do anything. I don't want to think about school, nothing when we're off. So when we're on, I like to be fully on. I'm kind of an all or nothing girl. Okay. So I generally prepare my kids the day before and I say, look, we have had such a fun week off. Let's talk about all the great things that we did. We did this, we did that. All right. So I really want to be the best educator for you. And that means that, we have to homeschool. We have to school a certain amount of days per year. It's required by the state and I have to turn that in every year. But I want to do that because I want to give you a really good education. I just kind of give them, for lack of a better word, the buy-in of no, we got to do this. There's time for fun and then there's time for play. And, then I walk through the expectations. You're going to wake up and then you're going to make your beds and clean your room just like normal. And then you're going to come downstairs and you're going to we start with memory work. You're going to start your memory work and I just walk them through it. But what I don't tell them is that I'm not necessarily expecting the same volume of work out of them that I normally would, but I still like to have them go through the motions of the subjects that we do for that particular day. We don't do every subject every day, but we have rotations of subjects that we do. And so my kids are pretty clear on what their expectations are per day. So that leads me to another thing. I have found one of the secrets to homeschooling is making sure that the kids know what they are going to be doing, setting those expectations. A lot of people do that in the form of a list. Some people use a schedule called a loop schedule. We do a morning time. So we have our morning time of the day that is about an hour and 15 minutes. And then we break off and we do our subject work. But what has backfired on me in the past is if I'm more of a loosey-goosey homeschooler where I kind of say, let's do math and this and that today. Then the next day, the kids are coming to me and saying, well, what are we going to do? They're kind of getting the gist that I'm going to cut their work. So I've kind of stopped doing that. And then when we have a surprise reason why the homeschool day has to end a little bit earlier or whatever, we just, I surprise them with it rather than telling them ahead. So anyway, I hope that's helpful.
Minarchy. My children are animals. They trash the house every time I blink.
Okay, let's talk about keeping the clean house. Okay, so heard of habit stacking? It's finally the thing that worked for me. Now, I'm just going to share with you what's worked for me. Take what you want, leave on the table what you don't want. But generally speaking, and this is true in like my own personal life, if I've wanted to create a healthier habit in my life, I need to attach it to something that I already do. So like the concept is, and I think this is from the book Atomic Habits. It's like a really famous book, which is attach a habit to something that you do every day anyway. So we all brush our teeth, okay? Or we all wake up. So one thing that we do is we connect our chore time with a transition time in our day. So what that means is when my kids wake up, the habit of when they wake up, they pick up their rooms and they make their bed. Those are the two things that happen because we're the type of family where we actually let our kids like go in their rooms and kind of play quietly with Legos and stuff until lights out. Or they read. We kind of let them be in their rooms. So their rooms kind of get trashed in that hour to 45 minutes that they're kind of quietly playing in their rooms before they fall asleep. And so, so we attach that to the waking up. Then we get some school subjects done. And then we have breakfast. Well, after breakfast always ends. We give ample time to eat breakfast. And, you know, I love a hot breakfast, so I make sure we have hot breakfasts most days. Eggs and avocados and cheeses and yummy stuff. We're not gluten-free. And so basically, once our eating is done, and this is for all the eating routines of the day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, then there is a chore chart. And the chore chart is the same for every child. So once we eat, then all of us get to our chore list. And once our chore list is done, we have freedom or they can finish their school until the next meal. And then after the next meal is another list of chores. And so we do that breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And you guys, one thing that's really great about having a cleanup time 3 times a day is they go quicker. Rather than, I have to spend an hour cleaning up, right? It's not that. When you're cleaning up throughout the day, your house is just tidier throughout the day. Because I don't even like living in a total mess until 8 p.m. when it all gets cleaned up. I just don't like it. So I kind of figured out a way that my house can be relatively tidy most of the time. Now, my house is not perfect by any stretch. And it sometimes gets out of control, especially if I don't check the chores. That's another thing is accountability. If I'm busy working and I don't have time to check the chores at 2:30, for example, the house can get out of control. So don't think that my house is perfect by any stretch. But I will say it's good enough where like if a neighbor knocked on my door, I wouldn't be totally embarrassed to invite her in. Ish. You know what I mean? Yeah. Okay, do we have more questions?
Yeah.
Okay.
Joy Soul Jewel says, schoolwork before breakfast?
Yes, I do schoolwork before breakfast. You guys, if you're not doing this, consider it. Well, it is if you have early risers. We do 1 to 2 to 3. Two subjects before breakfast. Yes. My kids think really well in the morning, and I like being done with school by lunch. And that's how I figured out how to do it. You know, I'm just not as good in the afternoons. I work full time, so I need those afternoons to work before I have to take the kids to, the 3 p.m. things that we all do, ballet, soccer, football, all of that. And so I like to have that block of time in the afternoon to get work done. So I work full time, but I work before my kids wake up. I work a couple hours in each afternoon, and then I work evenings and weekends. Yeah. So, but yes, we do subjects before breakfast. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Miss Ruth says,
go ahead and ask me questions about chores, and I want to know what chores your kids can do and how early they can do them. Because when my twins were 2, you guys, I trained them I bought all those mini hangers. I bought, 100 and something of them. The cheapo plastic ones, they're just the white ones. I was so sick of doing laundry because I have a lot of kids. And they were all little, right? So, and I taught them how to hang every single darn shirt, sweater, all of it. And everything was hung, even t-shirts, because that's a lot easier than folding. And then what I taught my 2-year-olds to do is I taught them with like their leggings and pants, to fold it in half the long way and then roll it. And then I bought those plastic bins, and then I put them upright in the bins. So they were like jelly rolls, like cinnamon rolls, like lined up in the bins. That way, unlike a drawer, when you pull it out and you have to pull something, my kids couldn't pull stuff out without totally messing up everything else. When you have the bins, and they were, to be honest, they were open on the floor of the closet. This was the phase that I was in. They were open, no top on them, and so they could grab their leggings or their tights or whatever, their pants. My son did this too, and they could pull it out without ruining the rest. And so for years, we hung every single top, dress, sweater, jacket, everything, t-shirt, even the junk t-shirts from Old Navy, we hung them. And then we jelly rolled all of the pants. And I hope you guys aren't matching socks. Please tell me you're not matching socks. They can find their match of their socks. Okay.
Okay.
We need an intervention if you're matching socks.
Minarchy follows up with, I have a question. Why does my husband think kids doing chores is wrong? I say because he's not doing their chores.
Did you hear Scott? Why does my husband think kids doing chores is wrong? His response was, because your husband's probably not doing the chores. To want to delegate them. I don't know if that's true. But I really believe that it's important as a member of the household to participate, not to be slaves by any stretch. But yeah, my kids were doing dishes when they still had to stand on a, what is wrong with thank you, step stool. My word retrieval, my processing is slow today. Maybe I need another cup, but a step stool. Because they were like, their motor skills were ready. Did I have them wash the delicate stuff and the knives? No, I told them to leave those in the sink. Mommy will get those after. But loading, plates and cups in the dishwasher, kids pretty young can do that. Yes. Okay, more questions. This is so fun today, and I want to know your secrets.
So, not another mom.
Oh my gosh, Armacosta is a sock matcher. I want to see a picture of your drawer. I'd rather buy new socks than spend time matching socks. I should show, you know what? You know what will be embarrassing? I should send you a picture of our sock drawers, because I think that you would judge me. I think you would, and rightfully so, because they're a disaster. And my kids, you know what my kids do is they just wear socks that don't match. And I don't care, because they can't find their match. Am I a bad mom?
Look at our drawer. Blue and black is the same, right?
We have these dress socks where it's really hard to tell between blue and black unless you're like outside in the sun. So yeah, that's why we're laughing. Okay, let's go. Questions. How do you keep your clean house? Come on, guys, let's go. This is so fun.
Well, not another mom named Jen says, share your chore chart, please. What are your homeschooling hours? You covered some of this, but...
Okay, what are my homeschooling hours? And share my chore chart, okay?
And yeah, that's it.
Okay, so I don't have my chore chart with me, but this is what I will say, okay? Is that I'm working on something that I just started this week to help you guys with keeping the clean house. Don't pressure me on how fast I need to get that out, because I have so much to do. But anyway, probably within the next 6 months, I'll have something really cool for you to help organize your home and keep your home clean. This is what I will say. The best tip I ever got from a veteran homeschool mom on how to keep your house clean while homeschooling is she used the summers, like 2 weeks in the summer, to teach all of her children, I think she had 5 kids, to teach all of her children their brand new set of chores. And those children, her children, kept those same chores for an entire calendar year. And when I first heard that, I was like, genius, because they can get really good at it. You can keep training them and really teach them how to do that project. And it's not unfair because you're going to rotate the next calendar year. Someone else is going to have those same chores. So I implemented that, I think 4 years ago. It's probably 4 years ago, I believe. Yeah. I implemented that about 4 years ago, and it has been the most amazing thing. This is the other thing. Do not forget this. If you hear nothing else, please do not try to teach your kids a whole set of chores, new skills, while trying to homeschool. What you need to do is you need to take a week off and just focus on what your expectations are. Here's the new chore chart. This is when we're going to do it. We're going to have practice days. And then you hold them accountable and you check their chore charts at the given times in the day. And then you say, oh, that one's, look at that little spot. Or like one of my daughters right now, she's my littlest one. Well, we have one of those French doors. And there's always handprints on it from the neighbors who are outside or us on the inside. There's always handprints. So once a day, she has to get one of those microfiber cloths, and she has to spray both the inside and the outside, and she has to clean it. But I had to teach her how to stand at an angle to be able to see the smudges, right? That stuff takes time. If you try to homeschool and do a whole full homeschool day while you're trying to train for chores, you're gonna have a meltdown. So that was the other piece of advice that was really great from her. Do you guys do this? Do you guys have your kids do what their set of chores for a full calendar year? I'd love to know. Yeah.
Okay. Kristen Page.
Hi, Kristen.
She says, is 1.5 to 2 hours worth of school enough time for a first grader?
Yes.
We fly through subjects so quickly.
Yes. Absolutely appropriate. Don't even question that. Absolutely.
And she follows it up with, not a question, but every day we do a closing shift. Everything gets and picked up so we can start the day to next day's fresh.
I love that closing shift. What a great term and what a great idea. I love that. What a gem. That's such a good idea.
I love that.
Yeah, next question.
Angie Revels.
Hi, Angie.
Do you think it would be bad? And she's on Instagram. Do you think it would be bad if I hired a maid every 2 weeks or so? My husband actually recommended it. I have a 1-year-old and an 8-year-old. Keeping my house clean is my hardest challenge.
Girl, if your husband is all for it, get that housekeeper. Are you kidding me? Yes, get a housekeeper. And here's the other thing, is not everyone can afford to have the housekeeper. I've heard of the fly lady method. But I hear that most people have you guys heard of the fly lady method? I think most people quit that. Am I wrong? I'd love to know what your thoughts are on it. So it is when you're homeschooling and you have all your kids at home and they're little and they can't really help with the deep cleaning, it's a huge burden. It takes up your weekends to clean the house. And I mean, to the point where there's been times in our lives where we've had to give up other things, even if it's once a month, just for someone to get after the toilets and get in there in the showers and just scrub everything down, is such an incredible help, because then it's really just Windex and tidying, which you can easily train your kids to do. But I personally would highly recommend getting that help for the deep cleaning aspects of housekeeping, if you can afford it. And when we couldn't afford it, we figured out ways to make it work, because we just did. We just gave up other things. We gave up, when 2 adults are having a Starbucks every day and you just stop doing that, that money ends up being there. So I just really had to prioritize. And because for Scott and I, he grew up in a very tidy home. I didn't, but I enjoyed when my home was tidy. So we like our house to be clean, like to the point where if we are so busy because we both work full time and we don't have time to clean, we are totally comfortable outsourcing that. And so, yeah, so I definitely would, especially if your husband offered. Are you kidding?
YouTube, Brittany, she says,
Hi,
Fly
Brittany.
Lady is great for new wives, people who weren't trained to keep house, and people who need routine and lists.
Oh,
I've used it in different seasons.
interesting.
Jennifer Harley.
So that's really interesting. I'm sorry, I just want to stop there. So what she said about Fly Lady, which makes a lot of sense, that's really helpful for people who were never taught how to keep house. See, I was taught how to keep house. We had our chores. I had to clean the bathroom every Saturday for my entire childhood. And my mom would come in and say, nope, 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 nope. And I had to redo it. And I couldn't go out and play. I couldn't even go to my basketball game unless that chore was done. And it was a high expectation for it, like the quality of my work. But there are kids who grow up and were never taught how to properly clean. So that makes a lot of sense as a Fly Lady method. And I'm glad it's there for that reason too, that it actually teaches people how to clean. Yeah.
Yeah. Crate and Bake.
Hi, Crate and Bake. On which platform?
She's on TikTok.
Hi, TikTok.
My daughter just started grade 9, and I'm considering pulling her to homeschool, but I don't know how.
Okay, girl, can we just give her hugs? The way you give hugs is you double tap so that she has hearts. Okay. All right. So I want to talk about pulling a 9th grader out of public school. Okay. I don't know if you guys know my friend Katie. She's the one that owns that cabin that I did a TikTok on yesterday. She pulled her 9th grader and 7th grader. She called me one day and she's like, I'm just so miserable in the public schools. I hate the influences, the academic influences and also the social influences. And she goes, I just feel like it's too late. Like I missed the boat. I can't pull them out now. One's in junior high and one's in 9th grade. Like it's too late, isn't it? And I said, girl, now's the best time. You only have 4 more years with your 9th grader. You can take back his heart and mind for these last few years. Also, what I want to add is that I feel like junior high and high school is when homeschooling gets really good. That's when you can teach the logic, the rhetoric. You can watch news and pick it apart and analyze it. Okay, what were the fallacies that you were just sold and taught and this and that? And then you can really prioritize. The other cool thing about homeschooling in the high school years is if your child has a hobby, any hobby. I don't know if you guys know Josh. He's on this app and he has the podcast called Homeschool Effect. I've been on his podcast before, but the one thing he loved about homeschooling through his whole podcast is he interviews homeschooling educational experts like me, but also he homeschools he interviews adults who grew up being homeschooled and asks them about their experiences. And he was homeschooled himself all the way through 12th. Anyway, one thing that he has shared with me that I'm free to share here because he did share it on his podcast as well, is that he was able to really pursue fencing while he was homeschooling high school. Because when you homeschool high school, it does not take 7 hours a day with 4 hours of homework. When you do your work, you're done with your work. And they lived in a particular area where the best academy for fencing was completely booked with a total wait list. And there was no way they could have gotten in. And his mom said, but we homeschool. And they're like, oh, you homeschool? Yeah. And so he was able to train like in the afternoons, like 1 p.m., like 1 to 3 or whatever. I don't know the exact hours, but you get the gist. Like he was able to train before all the other kids were out of school. So also, so I've talked about that. Like it gives you the freedom and the time to pursue extracurricular activities and interests. And it can be anything. Hey, if your kid's into chess, like you can spend time on that. Gymnastics, anything, outdoor survival, all that stuff you can do. You have more time to pursue. Our son is really interested in getting his pilot's license in high school because in the state of Colorado, you can get your pilot's license when you're 16, when you can get your driver's license. And if he's still interested in that at the time, if he wants to do that, we will have the time to be able to do that because he will not be in school 7.5 hours with 5 hours of homework after, not to mention SAT prep and all the other things that high schoolers do. So if you are, which I'm sure you are when you're pulling out high schoolers, like, how am I going to teach AP physics? How am I going to do all that? To which I will say, you don't have to. You can find amazing resources and online academies for any subject area that you're feeling weak in. You can find people either locally, you can find all the time in local co-ops, retired professors love teaching homeschoolers. For example, you could find it in an in-person co-op. You can find it in a live online academy, live online classes, all sorts of things. So be encouraged. You can absolutely pull a 9th grader. And then what I won't get into are the social benefits of homeschooling high school. Let me know if you want me to go into the social benefits of homeschooling high school, but I've talked a lot about that question, so I should probably stop now. Okay, yes.
Okay, great.
Hi, guys. I want to know how your week was. I want to know what your win was for this week. And I want to know what your secrets are to keeping a clean house. What's one thing, and I want you to advise me and other people, what's one thing you do in your homeschool day that helps you keep your house clean? Okay, yes.
Yeah. Kayla has a little feedback on that. No more than 3 or 1 big thing. That's the cap limit, so I don't exhaust myself. It does get clean.
Yes, I love that. You know what I do that? That was Kayla?
That was Kayla. Yeah, Kayla.
Be Kayla? Okay, girl. Okay, you and me right now. Do you know what helps me with me? Let's talk about me. I find it such a better day when I only give myself a to-do list of no more than 3 things. 1, I'm able to check them off and I feel successful rather than a list of 5 and I only got to 3 out of the 5. If I only put 3 down, I can do it. I can do that 3 and I'm like, no, I'm not going to do anything else until tomorrow. I'm going to go play with the kids. So I think that's genius to apply that to the kids too. I love it. Yeah, and your own cleaning schedule. Like if you're cleaning 3 things a day and you're doing a rotation, like is your rotation like 2 weeks where you're just getting after 3 things a day for 2 full weeks and then you do the loop again? I'm curious what that looks like for you because I think you could help a lot of moms here because that's kind of genius. Yes.
Jennifer Hurley.
Hi, Jennifer.
Not a fan of Fly Lady. Does burst cleaning during son's independent work.
Oh.
And I was just dealing with public school speech therapy. So confusing.
Yes. Yes. I want to talk about, I'm going to do a little cough. I'm going to clear my throat. Okay. I want to talk about homeschooling when your child qualifies for therapies. So if they're on an IEP and in that IEP, it requires that they have speech therapy X amount of times a week or occupational therapy. Sometimes it's even social groups. Like if your kid has autism, they have social groups at school. Here's the one thing I want to say about the therapies such as speech therapy. Often people say, I can't homeschool because I need that speech therapy. Often, because we were there, we were in the schools and we saw this all go down, and it's not the therapist's fault. This is not the therapist's fault. But I've known many in my career that were so frustrated that they had to do speech therapy in groups because each child has a different issue going on. And they would get the kid for just a short amount of time, a couple days a week. Really what your kid is getting is probably about 5 minutes, honestly. And so there are many families that they forego those therapies. They either pay cash, they try to get it done through insurance. But when those therapies are done one-on-one with a professional that you can choose, I just want to say this now for whoever needs to hear this. progress happens so much faster. Okay? It's like the DMV doing speech therapy versus like a total expert doing one-on-one speech therapy. And it's not the therapist's fault. Amazing therapists are at the schools, okay? I never throw teachers under the bus, ever, because we get into this profession because we care about kids. It's the system. It's just there's too many kids. They're trying to do therapies in groups. It just doesn't work.
She follows up with, I got told he won't qualify because he does not have a disability affecting his academic ability.
Yes, of course. You see that all the time. So, and here's the other thing is often moms will know, I know something's up with my kid's learning. I know something's off, and they try to get the kid tested, and the kid gets tested. But you need to keep in mind that if a child is diagnosed with a learning challenge of any kind and then put on an IEP, that is a legal document, and the school system is now required by law to fulfill that. So what happens? Schools go to the ends of the earth to make sure kids don't qualify. Kids that probably really, really need it. And if you haven't watched on my playlist, I have a playlist that's called Special Needs. If you haven't watched those videos, please do. I have read thousands of IEPs in my career. We helped these kids privately at our center, and I have a lot to say about our special ed system.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Coffee break.
Patriot Soul, Michelle.
Michelle, how are you?
Our win was getting the first part of the Constitution done. Whew.
Yay! Michelle, hi. It's good. I don't see you. I see myself. It's good to hear you, see your comment. It's weird. I'm looking at myself right now and like a little dot, and I'm imagining you guys. And I love you guys, and I love my lives. Okay, let me take a sip, and then, next question.
Hedvika, 29, says, everything has a place. My kids have their own baskets with their tasks for the day in them.
Yes, I love that. Everything must have a place. I feel like our kitchen needs a little work with everything having its place. Like how many times at dinner I'm like, where's the garlic press? Yeah.
Let's see here. Oh, G2 Mod.
Hi, G2 Mod.
My kids are 6, 5, and 2.
Mm-hmm.
Can I turn it around without too much stress?
Turn what around? 6, 5, and turn what around? I want to answer your question.
I'm not sure if that's the structure. I'm not sure if that's homeschool.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know.
I want to answer your question, so come in here and follow up.
Yep. Hey, Ima. Hey, Ima.
Hi, Ima.
Yes, social benefits of homeschooling and high school, please.
Okay.
My kid wants to go to college and grad school.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Benefits of homeschooling, high school. Let's talk college first. Colleges are now recruiting homeschoolers. Homeschoolers complete college at a higher rate than non-homeschoolers. Every single college professor that I have had a conversation with says, I know my homeschoolers in my class. They are engaged. They ask questions. They talk to me. They can spot them a mile away in a good way. In a good way. Because when you homeschool high school and kids, often kids are expected to be rather independent in their studies. So they take that with them to college. Academically, not even a question. Plus, you'll probably have more time to prepare for the SAT and standardized tests and all of those types of things. So academically, it's literally no question in my mind that homeschooling high school is a better choice academically than not, especially with all the resources that we have out. Let's talk a second about the social benefits of homeschooling high school. So, did you know that 50% of kids are sexually harassed in our schools? People accept toxic behaviors like bullying and harassment as a normal part of everyday life in our public schools. Something that I love that Brene Brown is really famous for talking about is the difference between fitting in and belonging. And if you guys have not read the book called Hold On to Your Kids, please, when you're done here, go and buy it. You can buy it off my Amazon page, but I don't care. I get like 3 cents. Go on Amazon and get that book, Hold On to Your Kids, because it talks about a social phenomenon in our culture called peer orientation. All right. And this ties into, so we have peer orientation. I'm going to now tie it into what Brene Brown says about fitting in versus belonging. Basically, fitting in is the opposite of belonging, because what fitting in tells you is that you have to act a certain way, dress a certain way, be a certain way, talk a certain way in order to be accepted. Who you are is not acceptable to fit in. You have to act certain ways to fit in. Belonging requires you to be yourself. That's what belonging is. One of the benefits of homeschooling is we can teach our kids how to be really great friends with other kids and how to spot bad relationships and coach them through those. I want my kids, now not every relationship is going to be this deep belonging relationship, but what is happening in our schools is more about fitting in and masking and not being yourself in order to not get ridiculed and harassed. Just think about this for 1 second. A lot of the behaviors that happen in our public schools, peer to peer, if you were in a therapist's office and you talked about what happened, your therapist would probably have names for those behaviors, like sexual harassment, bullying, gaslighting, right? I just wrap your brain around that for a second, because what's really difficult, even for me, because I was raised in this system and we all kind of were, is this deschooling that I'm still doing with myself. And that is accepting those behaviors that occur in those social environments as okay because they're so common. But they're not normal, and nor should they be. Okay? So how long would you stay in a job if you were ridiculed all day, every day? You would try to find a new job. You would quit the job. You would set boundaries for yourself. But our kids in America are expected to suck it up and figure it out. And I just find that unacceptable. I just do. Okay.
A couple things.
Okay.
Hey, Ima, I want to record this and play it for my husband. Do you have videos?
No. You can, let's see. Do I have a playlist on, sorry, I'm going to get comfy here. Do I have a playlist on socialization?
I don't know.
Okay. I always title my TikToks, so it's going to say social stuff if it's on there. Yeah. Have him binge watch my page, maybe.
BLI7. I came from your video for Living Books.
Yay!
What do you recommend for early American history for 2nd grade?
Beautiful Feet books. She's asking, what do I recommend for U.S. history for the elementary ages, early elementary? Beautiful Feet books. You guys, I love what they are doing. And when I say are doing, it's because they're constantly updating their stuff. They have been around for 30 years. They were the people that were kind of like the pioneers of creating a living books curriculum for history. So you can go to the link in my bio, and it will take you to their webpage. But use my coupon code, because right now you can get 10% off with my coupon code. And also they track the like how many people that I send. So, but I use them personally for a lot of subjects. Right now we're in there around the world because I've already done their early American history, which is to die for amazing. But right now we're in there around the world one. We just started Thailand this morning. It was gorgeous. We read a book. And we do the nature journaling, we do the mapping, we do everything in there. The cool thing about the around the world curriculum that they do is it incorporates history, geography, cultural studies, art, science, in the realm of nature study, all you would really need to add is math and language arts. Oh yeah, and literature. Do it with all your kids together, and then all you have to do are those other subjects. And always give them a call. They are so wonderful at their customer service. They care very, very deeply. So I don't need to talk all about Beautiful Feet books, but they forever and a day, that is who I use, and that's who I recommend, and I think they do it the best. So, yes.
Somebody asked, what about not U.S. history? We're not from the U.S.
Yeah.
Like world history for elementary?
Yeah, well, that's what I'm doing. Yeah, so I'm doing the Around the World one. They have it all. They have it all for every grade level.
That's for Anna Gal.
Yeah, Anna. Yeah, they have it. I already have done the early American, so now we're in the world. And the world is, there's 2 packs, because of course the world is a lot bigger than the United States. So it's actually 2 years of study to do the world. It's stunning. I feel like I should show you guys my kids' journals. They're Beautiful Feet days are my kids' favorite days. My kids wake up in the morning and say, is it a beautiful feet day? Yeah, they do. All right.
Let's see.
So grab the coupon code. 10% off right now.
B. Kayla says,
Hi, B. Kayla.
Success is the sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out. And that's a quote from Robert Collier.
You guys, repeat that again. That's so good. Double tap for her. That was Sarah that said that.
No, B. Kayla.
B. Kayla said success is what little things?
It's the sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out.
Yes. And you know what? The sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out. I'm going to say it one more time because I want to apply it to homeschooling. Success is the sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out. If you are struggling right now with never getting your homeschool to-do list completed, I want to encourage you to not care about the list. Maybe you need to turn it into a loop. And what a loop is it's when you have your list of subjects and you go down and you just get as far as you do in that day, you stop. And then the next day you pick up where you left off and you just keep going through that list. What a loop does, which is absolutely phenomenal, is if your kid needs a little bit more time to think about something, or if a history reading sparks a really great question, like about the Holocaust or something like that, it allows you to stop and have that discussion, have that space without stressing out about completing everything you need to complete for that day. And I feel like that quote applies to this. Success is the sum of small efforts, because even if you only get down that list with 3 things, but you've done them really well, you are providing a better education for your child than if you rush through your list. Get it done, get it done, get it done. That's not giving your kid the space to breathe and to ponder and to wonder. And that's what we want. We want our kids to have this spark ignited in them with learning. And that can't happen if we're constantly saying, next, 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 next. Does that make sense? So an easy way to implement that is by using a loop schedule. And you know what? You're just going to plug away. And the loop provides other freedoms as well. Like say you have a dentist appointment in the afternoon and you can't get to the whole school day. You're still chugging away at what you need to do, and then you go, and then you just pick up where you left off. So, yes. Yeah. Is anyone encouraged by that? I hope so.
Okay, here we go. Shane Unfocused. Hi, I am nervous to homeschool. I am an adult who was recently diagnosed with ADHD, and I'm afraid of not being organized enough.
Okay, Shane, here's what I want to tell you. You're worried because you have ADHD to homeschool. I want you to shift your thinking. What gifts do you have, even that ADHD has given you, that can benefit how you homeschool? Because there are benefits to it. Okay, so there are things that you can do to help you stay organized. Maybe you need a curriculum that has the lesson plans laid out for you. Okay? Maybe you need to do pomodoros with your kids. That's like where you set the timer for short periods of time and then you take the 5-minute breaks and then you come back. You may need to do that with your kids. And that is okay. Because here's the thing that I preach from the rooftops, is that homeschooling needs to be life-giving for the parent as well and really enjoyable too. So, oh my goodness. Okay. All right. One of my kids just walked in. I guess their Halloween costume just came, and he opened the package and he walked in with the Halloween costume on. Oh. Okay. So, I answered that. Hopefully I got through with ADHD.
Yeah.
That you have gifts. You have gifts. And what are those gifts that make you special, that's going to make you a really cool homeschooler? And then when we all have gifts and we all have weaknesses. And then with those weaknesses, figure out curriculum or what to compensate for those. Yes.
Apparently we have an echo on YouTube and IG, so just
Okay.
apologize for that.
Okay, sorry for the echo on YouTube and IG. Sorry about that, guys.
Pizza in the morning. First.
Pizza in the morning?
That's such a great name for this.
Is that the best username ever?
Pizza in the morning. We can get the homeschooling list done, but the house stays wrecked. So hard to do both with 7 kids.
Yes, yeah, it is hard. That's why you're eating pizza in the morning. Yeah. Oh, I agree. So if my homeschool day ends a little later because we did our cleaning, that's what I do. I want the house clean. But 7 kids, that's a lot of kids. That's a lot of Legos. Yeah.
Miss Michael, how do you assess when you may need more support outside of learning via homeschooling?
Well, the question is, how do you assess if you need help outside of what you can provide and you need to find outside resources? First off, I would say I'm not minimizing your question. I would say your intuition. So there are, for example, in my house, our foreign language that we do is Latin. I don't know Latin, and I don't really have an interest in learning Latin at this point, at my age. And I work full time, so I don't have the space to learn a new subject. And I know a lot of moms who learn a new foreign language with their kids, and that's really great. I'm not going to do that. So right off the bat, I knew that in 3rd grade when we start Latin that I am going to be outsourcing Latin. So I found an amazing online academy that does that. With things like math, you'll really know if your kid, for example, if your kid is getting to something and you try to explain it and they're not getting it, and you explain it again and they're not getting it, and you don't really know of another way to explain it, it might be time to outsource that. It depends on the subject, I'm that way with math. I can teach math for elementary years, but after that, I was always good at math, but I loved the humanities, and my undergrad and graduate degree were in history, so I'm very much a writer. So I'll never be really outsourcing that kind of stuff, more of the humanities, but with math, absolutely. And so you kind of know. You just know if you're having trouble explaining some concepts and stuff like that. And I encourage you to do that because homeschooling provides us the opportunity to give our kids an amazing education even beyond what we know. That's kind of the point. So part and parcel of that is going to be outsourcing. Yeah.
Yeah, we're getting close to the end.
Okay, close to the end, you guys.
Juliana Shull says she has a question on YouTube, so go ahead and ask it, Juliana. Just go ahead and type it right in the chat.
Type it into YouTube. Scott will get the question.
Geek Mom 116. This is going to show the type A in me. How do I get it all done if I relax?
Okay. Were you here when I talked about the loop schedule? Can you just respond? Let me know if you were here when I talked about the loop schedule.
That's Geek Mom.
Yeah, Geek Mom. Are you still here?
I was late for that, she said.
Okay. Yeah. So I had just talked about having a loop schedule, and that is where you have your list of subjects. But you never plan on getting through them. And in fact, the list is going to be too long to even get through in a day if you're like me. Because I like to incorporate poetry and art and read aloud and classical music. I mean, I love to incorporate all those things. So like my loops are like long. And then, and you go through you just get done in the time that you've allowed what you've gotten done, and then you stop. Now, one thing I want to add about loops is there are certainly daily subjects that don't go in a loop. Math, learning to read, copy work. Those are like a separate list, where those are like 4 things that piano practice, that you do daily. Then you can get into the loop subjects. Loop subjects are subjects you don't need to do every day. That would be history, science, art, those types of things would go in the loop. But what happened before I incorporated loop scheduling into my homeschooling, what would happen is I would get through all the core subjects that I wanted to get through, and I would be too tired to get to that richness that I loved. I wanted to read books about composers and listen to classical music, and I wanted to be able to memorize and recite poetry, and I was never getting to those, and I was constantly feeling like a failure. Enter the loop schedule. So we do our core subjects that are daily, and then we hit the loop. So we are getting to all those beautiful things that I really want my kids exposed to while I'm homeschooling, but I have no pressure to finish anything in a given day. And it's really, really freeing. I'm making a new How to Homeschool guide, way more improved than the last one, and I'm putting loop scheduling in there because I wish someone taught me about loop scheduling when I started. Because I had years of feeling like a failure at the end of every day, and it wasn't necessary. So I made sure to put that in my new free guide. It's not available yet. It's being edited right now, but yeah. One more question?
Rosary Rose.
Hi, Rosary Rose.
So much pressure on parents and kids.
Yes, they do.
They pile more and more Why do they pile more and more classes on? 7 to graduate from high school per semester? It's just too much.
Yeah. Yep. It's way too much. And what our public school system has done is quantity over quality. Think about it this way. I would rather have my children go a mile deep on a subject and know a lot about, say, World War II. I would rather them know a lot about that and really ponder and grapple with difficult concepts rather than going through an entire year of history and memorizing 4 facts about World War II. Because how are you learning anything? How are you learning from the past? And our school system has done that. They are more about quantity and checking off boxes than quality. And when you're going for quality and deepness and richness, what happens is you get those results that you really want. You get kids who can think critically, who can step inside other people's shoes and be empathetic and really grapple with some difficult issues. So, I am so in full agreement with you in many ways on that. In fact, just yesterday, it was yesterday at dinner, babe, we decided to cut 2 things. Okay. Are you ready for my story? This was last night at dinner. Okay. Last night at dinner, Scott and I talked and decided with our oldest child to cut 2 subjects from his schedule because he was overworked and he wasn't able to go deep in those other subjects. And we're like, okay, what are the 2 that are the least important here? We can get to those later. We can do them in the summer. We cannot do them at all. And that's what we did. And it's so much better because our oldest now has more time to think and ponder and spend time on the work that we want him to spend a lot of time on, rather than stressing out about getting through every little thing. Yeah.
Okay, so many people, Joy Works. I always learn so much from you. Thank you.
Oh, Joy, you're so sweet. You want to be friends? Like real ones? You can text me.
GeekBomb116.
Geek Bomb.
I love this.
Want to be friends? Like real ones? Who else wants to be friends?
We'll see. And then
No one wants to be real life friends.
Geek Mom.
I'm not that bad.
Geek Mom said yes. And then Juliana.
I'm a little chatty, but
Juliana Shull on YouTube followed up with her question, and we could probably wrap up with this. Any advice for a mom that speaks English as a second language?
yes.
My native language is Portuguese, and sometimes I don't feel confident with my English.
Yes.
Any tips?
Yes, absolutely. One, can we give this mama some hugs? Double tap. The way you give hugs is you double tap and it's hearts. I don't even know another way to give hugs. But anyway, so a mom is asking, English is not my first language. My first language is Portuguese, and I'm feeling really insecure at homeschool, even though I want to homeschool, because I don't have mastery of the English language. Be encouraged. Those areas that you are insecure in, you can find world-class resources to compensate for any weaknesses you have. And if you don't hear anything, I want you to hear this. You aren't alone. Every single mom has strengths and has weaknesses. So we all have to do this. We all have to figure out what we're going to outsource, what resources we need to find. And also, I want you to change your framework. Don't view this as a weakness. What an incredible opportunity that your child is going to be able to grow up bilingual and be in a household where you can speak Portuguese. What an amazing asset. So be encouraged. You are going to provide something really special for your child, and you're going to be able to find amazing world-class resources for any subject or content area that you don't have confidence in. And I promise you that. Because I've been in this space for so long, I know all the curricula out there. There's too much to choose from. Like, everything is decent, if not amazing. You almost can't go wrong. I mean, sometimes you can not find a fit, but generally speaking, homeschool resources are more than adequate. So, okay, you guys, that's it. I'm going to go. And I hope you have a really wonderful weekend. That's it. Okay? All right. I love you guys.